Ever since I reviewed Paladins and Fortnite right after they came out for the Switch, I've had a lot of people discussing the reviews with me. Not just people commenting and complaining about the review score, but more the fact that the type or genre that these games represent, multiplayer-only shooters, is something that I very rarely dove into. And the Battle Royale scene I didn't know anything about before Fortnite came out for the Switch just a couple days before I reviewed it. And that's perfectly understandable for them to ask about. I do a lot of variety in my reviews, but most of my reviews are in genres that I know a great deal about. Fortnite and Paladins, though, were new ground for me. And I think a lot of you guys understood that pretty well, because I've gotten request after request after request for me to re-review these two games after I'd been able to spend a lot more time in the genre and becoming as knowledgeable in that genre as I am in other genres that I've reviewed a lot for, like RPGs. Now, I've never re-reviewed a game in the past, but the sheer amount of requests for this and the fact that they were all very respectable, non-violent, non-verbal requests made me take a step back, look and essentially review my own review, find some faults in what I downed points for and talked about, and here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to re-review Paladins because it has become a free game where it wasn't before, but the other game, which I do play every couple days, is what we're going to talk about today. Here is my re-review of Fortnite for the Nintendo Switch. Fortnite is part of the Battle Royale genre. To summarize this, it's a sandbox-style third-person shooting game with a lot of heavy building elements through the mix. As I said before, this version of Fortnite is a standalone release of the original game's Battle Royale multiplayer game mode. Its story campaign mode, Save the World, is not included here, which is why it's free on the Switch and remains $40 on PC. If you don't know what Battle Royale is, it's a game mode where you drop 100 players onto a giant sandbox map that all have to land and quickly find weapons and ammo to defend themselves before the map starts to continually shrink, forcing them and everyone else towards the same area. Of course, the idea of a multiplayer game mode being released as its own thing on other platforms is strange, but it's not like you only have one thing to do. All of the different game modes in Fortnite are Battle Royale, but you've got a few different varieties, like the typical free-for-all where 100 players dropped on the map and every man and woman for themselves. But you've also got much less intense and much more cooperative team-based game modes where you buddy up with 1, 5, or even 49 other players. That drastically changes the feel of the game. Fortnite also brings its own uniqueness to the Battle Royale table, and that's through its build mechanics, which other Battle Royale games don't really have. When you drop down to the map, you're going to be looking for weapons, but you've also got a pickaxe, and you can break down literally anything you see for materials. During a lot of those team-based matches, you're going to group up with your team, not only to fight together with them, but to build together with them, making fortresses and bases so you're not all just running and shooting in open fields. This helps the team-based battles feel a little different, because when you buddy up with your team, you're not just running together to take out the enemy, you're building together, or you're dividing your team up in people who patrol around watching for enemies while the others work on building defenses. This comes together pretty well, but one of the things that a lot of people, myself included, really like about Fortnite is the overwhelming amount of character customization you can do. As you complete challenges in Fortnite, you can earn cosmetic items. There are character skins to play as different playable characters, and there are dozens upon dozens of character icons, taunts, sprays, dances, backpacks, gliders, and more that you can use not to gain an edge in battle, but just to switch up your look, to customize yourself. Essentially like a character creator, but a little more draft and pre-made like. This gives Fortnite a great sense of length because you can constantly unlock all these new cosmetic items and characters that you can play as. But that's also where the business model comes in that turns away some people who may be more casual players that don't want to spend money on a free game. How you unlock all these cosmetics is getting experience and completing challenges for tiers of the Battle Pass. And the Battle Pass is where things get strange, because you've got your free player tiers and your Battle Pass tiers, or paid player tiers. 99% of all of the cosmetic items are in the paid player tiers, so free players barely have anything to unlock. Getting into the Battle Pass requires you to spend real money on premium currency. Now the nice thing about this is that you unlock a lot of the premium currency when you're going through each season of this Battle Pass. So by the time the current Battle Pass ends and the next one begins, you'll probably have already earned well over the amount of premium currency to go into the next one. Buy it once, be an active player, and you don't have to buy it again. But there's still the fact that you have to spend real money on the game to get into it once. And that's not even going into all of the shop exclusive costumes and cosmetics that cost way more money than it does to go into the Battle Pass. Despite this, the formula gets together and works very well, providing even someone who doesn't like multiplayer only games like me with a fun experience that I still play every few days. Now let's talk presentation. Visually, I think Fortnite looks very good. It's very rare for me to see a jagged edge, and in docked and handheld mode, I think it looks very colorful, very smooth. Maybe not as super perfect as the other versions of the game, but it looks great for handheld Fortnite. When we get to performance though, things get a little strange. I've seen a lot of reports around Reddit that ever since they upgraded to the new Battle Pass season, Fortnite on the Switch has been super laggy, unplayable. Rendering takes so long that you reach buildings before they're rendered and it won't let you go in. But I'll tell you what I've experienced. I've played the game off and on ever since it first launched on the Switch. I have never had frames drop under 30 frames per second very often. Every once in a while I will get a little bit of frame stuttering, but nothing to really stop my efficiency. And the rendering has never been a problem for me. Maybe it's just that I have faster internet than all of these people that are going on Reddit and YouTube and complaining about it. But it's run very well for me, outside of a few frame stutters here and there. Now let's get into battery life, which has changed for the better since launch. When I did my initial review, I criticized the battery life because Fortnite on the Switch had less than 2 hours of battery life. However, with updates and patches, that has changed. If you're not aware, Epic Games added a low power mode to the Switch version of Fortnite, which was meant for extending battery life. But even without it, things have improved. So here are my battery times, both with and without this mode activated. Fortnite original settings. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 2 hours and 19 minutes. And here are my readings for Fortnite with low power mode turned on. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 2 hours and 24 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 2 hours and 34 minutes. I was expecting a little bit more out of low power mode in comparison to the original settings, but regardless, with all of the updates and patches, even without low power mode, they have brought Fortnite up into the more average, acceptable range of high resource Switch games. Not that under 2 hours range that we had before. Now in conclusion, Fortnite is a fun game if you like shooters, Minecraft, and really the Battle Royale genre in general. Now it's still brought down with the way it handles its pay-to-unlock business model, along with some occasional frame drops during gameplay. But with all of the improvements they've made since launch, it's definitely a fun way for Switch users to waste time, especially if they like sandbox and shooting games. Reviews to go, re-reviews, Fortnite for the Nintendo Switch, with a final score of 8 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, or head to the website at reviewstogo.home.blog.